Okay, so let's continue with our next video on practice exam questions for the AWS Certified Developer Associate exam. So let's read question number 91. A developer received the following error message during the AWS CloudFormation deployment. Delete failed and delete failed for the particular role. What action should the developer take to resolve the error? So basically, the CloudFormation template is used to create your infrastructure on the AWS, basically some services, and then you can use the same template to delete that, right? So now maybe the service is already there, that's why you are trying to delete it, right? But while deleting, you found, okay, one service has failed. Basically the whole deployment failed because it's unable to delete the particular role. So what will the issue? How you can resolve it? Do you want to contact the AWS support team? No. Add a depends on attribute in the CloudFormation template, then delete the stack. So this is wrong because the infrastructure already deployed. So when the infrastructure already deployed, when during the deployment you have not added the depends on attribute, then why you want to add the attribute now? All right. Modify the CloudFormation template to retain the resources. So this looks correct because there are many times, because this is a role. All right, the role, security group, these kind of things is not only used by your stack. It could be used by many other services which are not part of your stack. All right. So maybe this role is not is being used by many other services which are not part of your stack. So those services get deleted, and if they are trying to delete this role because this role is defined in your template, but this role already being used by some other service which is not in your stack, then they said, okay, I am being currently being used, so I am unable to delete it. So what you will do is, okay, you will modify your template and just put in front of that, okay, I don't want to delete, I want to retain it, and then manually delete that. Add a force parameter, no. So C is the correct answer. And even if you go to the official documentation, let me show you here. You could see what the resolution when it's unable to delete the stack failed because the security group can't be deleted. You must retain the dependency. And why it is happened? Because sometimes your stack fail in the security group, that part of your stack is attached to an ENI that is not part of your stack. So basically they give the example for the security group, and in our case it's the IAM role. So basically you are trying to delete an IAM role which is attached to some other AWS services which is not part of your stack. Okay, so that's why you want to retain it first. Question number 92. An application runs on is multiple EC2 behind the load balancer. So you have the load balancer and after that multiple EC2. Where is the session data best written so that it's served reliably across multiple requests? So session data means like whenever the user trying to log in, so some session data has been stored. Where it's going to be stored? Uh, in Amazon Elastic Cache, EBS, uh, instance store, or root file system. So root file system, no, because they said it should be across multiple systems or multiple requests, right? And you have the multiple EC2, right? So let's suppose there is a website. So user don't know now. My request is going to the first EC2 or second EC2. User said I logged in. Doesn't matter if I like just close my browser and reopen that, and at the second time my request is going to some another EC2. I always be keep login until my session has been expired. All right. So the best option is Elastic Cache because that is going to be shared across multiple EC2 instance, because instance store and EBS or root file system is just particular to one EC2. So A is the correct answer. A company is using CI/CD system. The developer must automate the deployment of an application software package to EC2. So they CI/CD pipeline, they want to deploy something on EC2, and they want to automate the deployment. So okay, which AWS service? So if they want to automate the deployment, they should use a code deploy. So Cloud9 is the IDE environment, Beanstack is not code deploy, code build. Code build is just to build the service, but they want to deploy it. So code deploy is the correct answer. Question number 94. A software company is using AWS code build to build an application. So now they are building it. So that's why they are using code build. What build is the build spec. So in the code build, build spec dot YAML is going to be used. In the build spec, the application builds and create a Docker image. The company wants to push the image to the ECR upon completion of each successful build. uh, what company should do. So in the build spec file, you have to just add an extra step. So after the creation has been done, just push to the ECR. So basically, you need to modify the build specs. So change the build spec by adding a post build phase that uses the command block to push the Docker image. Looks correct. Change the build spec, adding a post build set that use finally block to push the Docker image. Looks wrong because uh, try, accept, and finally in even the coding. So finally block is always going to be executed, but here they have mentioned we need to push on successful build. So if you are going to add push image in finally block, then it's going to fail. So whenever the image has been successfully built, only then you have to push. Specify the Docker image in the build specs artifact sequence. No. Use a batch build to define a build matrix. No. So A is the correct answer. Question number 95. A company is using RDS as a backend service for its application. After a recent campaign, a surge of read requests to the database increased data retrieval. The company had decided to implement caching layer. The cache content must be encrypted and must be highly available. So their application is trying to access the RDS, but what they have noticed is so many read requests has been go through that. So they want to implement some caching layer so that to reduce the basically latency or time to uh, and uh, and the data should be highly available even if they implement the like caching. CloudFront, totally wrong. CloudFront should deliver the static content. Elastic Cache can be the answer. Elastic Cache can be the answer. DAX. DAX is for the DynamoDB, but here we are using RDS. So A and D are eliminated. Let's see, read B and C. Elastic Cache for Memcache can be correct. Elastic Cache for Redis in cluster mode. So C looks correct because they said we are going to use the Elastic Cache. Elastic Cache is a AWS service we can use for two types. One is for Memcache, one is for Redis. So Redis is generally prefer. And in the cluster mode, if you use the cluster mode, it will be highly available across multiple jobs. Like, and the same thing has been question has been asked. So C is the correct answer. A company has an application that runs on Beanstack in a load balancer environment. The company need to update the instance type. So when they're running Beanstack, so by default EC2 instances has been created. So maybe when they created the environment, they maybe used t2.micro, and now they want to update the instance type to something else, to the most generation recent instance type. The company must minimize the downtime because if they are going to update the instance type, the new EC2 instance are going to be spinned up and the application is going to be run on the new EC2 instance. So there should be a downtime. How the company can minimize the downtime? So disabled, totally wrong. They said just disable this, totally wrong. Uh, all at once, also wrong. They said like let's suppose you are running 10 EC2 instance as part of the Beanstack. All the 10 EC2 instance can be updated together. If all the 10 EC2 instance can be updated together, so there is a huge downtime. So D is also eliminated. So remaining three. Immutable, totally correct. In immutable, what will you do? So you have 10 EC2 instance. You are not going to touch your 10 EC2 instance. You are going to spin another 10 EC2 instance, and then you are going to deploy your application, or basically you are going to spin your 10 EC2 instance with the new instance type, and then you can like switch to the new one. So no downtime basically. So immutable is correct. A rolling based on health and canary. So what is it? In canary, what you will do is let's suppose you have like 10 EC2 instance. So first you are going to do the deployment on 10%, then remaining 10, then remaining on 90. All right. So first 10% is okay, but then remaining 90, and it might increase the downtime. All right. If it is increment, then it's fine. Also, in the canary is generally used for the code deployment, not for the like it's generally prefer not for the infrastructure type of change. Then rolling based on health. Rolling is like on health. something like that. Let's suppose you have like 10 EC2 instances, so you will maybe uh, change first two EC2 instances, and then another two, then another two, then another two. So you are going to reduce the time. So B, C looks correct to me. Question number 97. Given the source code for the AWS Lambda function in the local file store.py. So you have the Lambda function in store.py and in your local file. And then handler function get code get store. Okay. You have the cloud formation template and you want to deploy that. So handler is store.get.py. What should be done to prepare the template so that it should be deployed using the CLI command? So you need to use this command, AWS Cloud Formation Deploy. Okay. What should you will do? Use the CloudFormation compile to base64 and embed the source file into the template. Totally wrong. You can't embed the source file. So source Lambda code should be somewhere else, and template should access that resource code. Use AWS CloudFormation package to upload. So that looks correct because you have to use the AWS CloudFormation package command. You will first package it, and package command will upload your code to S3 bucket, and then modify your template so that the location will be S3. Lambda zip together with the CloudFormation template and deploy the resulting zip archive. No. AWS serverless create package. Even the command itself is wrong. So B is the correct answer. Question number 98. A company is deploying a report implemented using step functions. CloudWatch shows error in step function task state machine. To troubleshoot each task, so state machine is basically the step function in which you are running multiple tasks. Uh, so it shows error and you want to troubleshoot. The state input needs to be included along with the error message in the state output. So they said you want to troubleshoot, you want to know, okay, what is the input you have passed, and also what is the output it comes. What is the best coding practice to preserve both input and output? Use result path in a catch statement to include the error and the original output. Okay, so whenever there is an error, so you are just going to catch that. Looks correct. Use input path in a catch statement and set the value to null. Wrong. Use error equal in a retry statement to include the error. No. Output in a retry statement. No. So basically, even if you read the question, let's go, even if you don't know anything about step function, or just by going through the questions, like you want to maintain both input and output, so it is only mentioned in like option A. Along with that, when there is an error, you want to store that. So basically, when your code will go to the catch statement, so option A looks correct. A developer is receiving 400 HTTP throttling. Throttling come when you are trying to send multiple requests. Uh, Right. So when calling the CloudWatch API, so when a call fails, no data received, what is the best practice to address the issue? Contact AWS support team? No. Use CLI to get the metrics? No. Analyze the metrics to remove the API call? No. Or retry the call with exponential backup? Totally correct. Because throttling means like you are someone is doing multiple transactions on this API. So what you will do, and many transactions are getting failed. So what you will do, you are implement the exponential backup. Exponential backup means the first retry you will do after 1 second, second retry after you will do 2 seconds, third retry you will have to do 4 seconds, fourth retry you will do after 8 seconds, fifth retry you will do after 60 seconds. Basically, you are increasing exponentially. So this is the correct answer. Question number 100. A company has an online order website that uses DynamoDB to store inventory. So online order and order has been placed, something like that, or some inventory is there. It is stored in DynamoDB, and DynamoDB data something look like this. You have the ID, you have the price, you have the category. A developer need to reduce all inventory prices by 100. So what developer want to do is they want to reduce the price for all inventory. All right, by 100. So let's put it 650. They want to make it 550. but as long as the resulting price would not be less than 500. But what they want is, if I reduce 100, the result should not be less than 500. All right. So it means, if the price is 100, are you going to reduce it? No, because if you reduce 100, the result is 0, which is less than 500. If it is 200, if you reduce 100, the result is 100, which is less than 500. If it is 500, are you going to reduce it? Because if it is 500, if you reduce 100, the result will be 400, which is not satisfying the condition. If it is 600 and then you reduce it by 100, is it less than 500? No. So basically, only for 600 or more than 600, you can reduce the price. What should the developer do so that the least number of goes to the DynamoDB? Perform a DynamoDB query operation with ID, and if the price is greater than 600, then update. This looks correct, because they said, okay, first get the items and then check, okay, if the price is greater than 100, then update. But there are two operations, one is for query and then update. Perform a update item with the condition of price greater than 100. Looks correct. So don't get confused with this statement, because they said resulting price should not be less than 100. All right, basically we need to modify those items which are more than 600 or equal to 600, because if you reduce 100, the result price is 500, which is not less than what has been asked. So you can technically do, like, okay, just update the item with some condition where the price is like greater than 600. Just one operation. B looks correct. Perform a DynamoDB update operation with the conditional satisfy product category. So like, why should I mention product category? Nothing is mentioned in the code, right? So why should I mention product category? Why should I restrict even more further? So C looks wrong. Perform a DynamoDB update operation with the conditional expression min price 100. Totally wrong. If you are going to update only for those price where the minimum price is 100, minimum price is 500, if you are going to reduce, it will become 400. All right, so totally wrong. So B is the correct answer. So that's it. That's the end of the video, and thank you.